we are facing a health situation all around the planet. And there's a lot of discussion right now about how every country should be handling the pandemic and the lockdown, all that kind of stuff. And I think we can let the countries deal with that. But we as people can really take a look at what we should be doing. And of course, we should be doing, making sure that we're staying away from people and all that sort of stuff for community spread. But there's a much more important message, in my opinion, and that is the message about how we handle our own health. One of the things that seems to be very clear all around the world is that this virus is not really particularly dangerous unless you have a population of a lot of people who have other illnesses, most of which are caused by the food production industry. So in other words, what we're seeing is a lot of people that are getting serious hospitalization or dying from this virus are doing that because they have diabetes, obesity, hypertension, autoimmune disease, not most of which is stimulated by a terrible food production system. And so I want to talk about how you right now can support yourself in making sure that you recover best if by chance you ended up encountering this virus. There's some really great data coming out. The first thing is that it turns out that between 85 and 90% of the people that are being seriously hospitalized or that are passing away because of the virus have a pre-existing lifestyle disease. And another thing that's really getting fascinating is as they're doing more antibody testing, it looks like a lot more people have had the virus than we thought, but many of them never had any symptoms or only had symptoms as soft as a cold or a small flu. And so one of the things that will make the difference in your body's ability to deal with this is how healthy you are to begin with. And so there are some very specific things we can do to support our immune systems to be as strong as possible so that should we encounter the virus, we can deal with it in the best way possible, get to a place where we can create antibodies and be healthy again, and ultimately end up with immunity. So let's talk about how we do that. First thing is, it's a big, important discussion to talk about the difference between immunity and your immune system. Your immune system tries to create immunity for you. When somebody first encounters a virus, if they don't have the antibodies for that virus, they don't have immunity. And so their immune system will do what it can to fight and protect them and help recover from the virus. Once they have the antibodies, they have immunity. Most of us don't have the antibodies, so we need to work on our okay, so we need to work on it. Sorry, guys, I just got a message that there was a problem with the feed. I hope everything's working out okay for you guys.
Eric, we have one of, I'll just interrupt for a short moment. One of the platforms, because we have it on multiple platforms, but so one of the platforms has stopped. They're fixing the platform, but because there are other platforms that are still functioning, so we'll go on with that. Yeah, absolutely.
All good. So in any event, what we have to do is work on supporting our immune system. Okay, so in order to do that, let me put this in the simplest terms. There are 8 physical needs of your body. Your body has 8 physical needs, and if you meet those needs, you will be as strong as possible. If you meet those needs properly and effectively, you will be as healthy as possible, as strong as possible, and in that case, you'll have the best possible chances of having the best possible experience should you encounter the virus or any other disease or any other injury. So what we're going to do is go through those 8 things. And as we do, I want you to think about how you can improve that area, how you can do even better in that particular area. And I'm going to give you the 8 areas, the 8 physical needs of the body. I'm going to give them to you in order of urgency. They're all important, but I'm going to give them to you in order of urgency. And what I mean by that is that the very first one we're going to talk about is something you need every single minute you would die. And then as we go through the 8th one, you don't need it every single minute, but if you don't get it, it still affects you in a major way. So let's go through the 8 needs of the body, understanding it like this. Imagine that you were about to go on a very long trip in your car. You would want to make sure that the car was in the best possible shape before it went on that trip. You'd want to make sure it was full of good quality gas, that its oil was topped up, that it had all the fluids correct, that it had good tires, that the tires had good pressure in them. You would take care of the car's needs so that the car could get you there in the safest possible way. So your body in this case is the car. And what we want to do is make sure that you take care of its needs. So need number 1, air. Air is need number 1. And you know what's really interesting about this is that when people get under stress, when they're freaked out, when they're scared, they go immediately to food. Food is something you can, I'm not recommending it, but you can live for days or weeks without food. But for some reason, the minute we start to feel stressed, we go straight to food, and we don't go to the best foods either, do we? So what we need to understand is that the first thing we should go to is air. And I know you're probably thinking, yeah, but I breathe all the time. I hardly ever forget. So I don't know why you have to remind me. It's not that you are breathing. It's a matter of what you're breathing and how you're. So it's very important that you're getting fresh air. I know many people are locked down in places where they're not even able to go outside very often. So you should be opening the windows and doors and getting fresh air into your life. And if you can go outside, going out and getting it. So it's the quality of the air to get good quality fresh air. And it's how you're breathing. If you are breathing like sitting at a computer all day, working, sitting down, watching TV, and your lungs are crunched up, then you're not breathing very deeply. So it's really important to undertake deep breathing, which you can do because you're doing good exercises, meditation, stretches, or because you decide to just do some breathing exercises. One of which, for example, could be the 5-5 breathing that we recommend at WildFit. You simply breathe in for a count of 5. You hold at the top for a count of 5. You breathe in again, or you breathe out for a count of 5, and then you hold at the bottom for a count of 5, and you do that 5 times. And you will feel better, but you will also communicate a message to your body that you're safe. This is incredibly important. When you breathe shallow, you tell your body that you're under stress. When you're under stress, your body directs energy toward your muscles and away from your immune system. Because if you're under stress in that moment, it thinks, I better be able to run, I better be able to fight. And so the immune system is the last thing that it's worried about. And so what you need to do is breathe in a way that creates maximum calm and peace. And then that will support your immune system. The second need that we're going to talk about is water. Water is absolutely important to you, more important than food. You are mostly water. So if you're running low on water, you're running low on you. So you've got to make sure you're getting water. I would suggest at least 8 glasses a day. If you're a bigger person, bigger glasses, smaller person, smaller glasses, but 8 good glasses of water per day. And if you're wondering about what kind of water, I suggest the wet kind. What I mean is it's most important that you get the water. And then, of course, you can look at the quality of the water. And the best water you could be having would be like mineral water or glacial runoff water, natural spring water. And then, of course, after that, if you're using like distilled water, okay, that's fine. But then you might want to add some minerals to it because you don't want to put empty water into your body. And listen, I just want to be clear. Coffee isn't water. You know, soft drinks aren't water. Reconstituted juices aren't water. You want to have water. Okay. So that's the second physical need of the body. It's incredibly important that you keep yourself well hydrated. And remember something, your body will only tell you that it's thirsty when it's too late. I mean it. If you're at the point where you're already thirsty, it's a little too late. You want to drink preemptively. You want to drink in advance, keeping yourself hydrated all the time. You never want to run low. Okay. The third need of the body, and this is a really interesting one right now, it's sleep. The third need of the body is sleep. You absolutely need to get good quality sleep. If you want to figure out how to do that, well, first of all, figure out what time do you want to wake up and feel refreshed. Then work yourself back 7.5 or 8 hours and set an alarm. You set an alarm to go to sleep, not to wake up. You got to remind yourself to go to sleep at a good time. Then make sure you turn off all the electronic devices about 2 to 3 hours before you go to sleep. Stop having caffeine 5 or 6 hours before you're going to sleep, or stop altogether. Make sure the room is nice and chilled, like cool, fresh feeling air, and also as dark as possible, and have a routine. I can tell you that one thing that works in my routine really well is to read fiction books, not electronic devices, not Facebook, but I mean a book, a fiction book. And then that really helps me to relax and go to sleep. And then in the morning, when it's time to get up with purpose. If you go to sleep at night asking yourself what you're most excited about for the next day, you will sleep better and wake up with more energy. And so sleep is incredibly important. You've got to get sleep. It supports your immune system. It helps your brain. It helps your emotions. It's one of the most important things you could be doing right now. It's one of the most important things you could be doing always, but particularly with the kind of stresses that we're facing today, it's really important that you sleep. And it's totally okay, even a great idea, to take short naps in the day, like a 20 or 30 minute power nap. I recommend, however, you don't nap after about 6 o'clock at night, because that tends to disrupt the going to sleep that night. So napping in the middle of the day is a perfectly good idea. You've got to get your sleep. So we've topped up on air, we've topped on water, we've topped up on sleep. Now we're going to talk about energy. You get energy from food, but this is really important. Again, it's kind of like air. It's not a matter of are you getting enough? It's a matter of are you getting the right kind and how much and And how are you getting in? Most of us are getting a lot of our energy from sugar. And that is a bad idea right now. Every bit of science that I'm reading about this indicates that sugar is a problem relative to COVID-19, both in terms of people who have insulin sensitivity, metabolic dysfunction, diabetes, and so forth, and even in people who don't have those things, but have incredibly high blood sugar in the moment. So sugar is not the best fuel to be burning during this time. What the best fuel to be burning is fat, good, healthy, high quality fat. That's the energy that you really want to be burning at this time. And the best way to burn that is to make sure you're eating enough of it and that you're doing the kind of exercise that stimulates fat burning. So that's like aerobic exercise, like walking, swimming, biking if you can. And it depends on what kind of outdoor activities you can do right now. But making sure that you're doing something that gets your breath rate up, and then it'll help you to stimulate fat burning. If you get into fat burning the right energy, you'll find that your mood stabilized, your immune system works so much better, your thinking is clearer. And so it's really important to move to a fat burning metabolism rather than a sugar burning one. The fourth need of the body, and this is very important and a bit challenging at the moment with the lockdown, and that's movement. It's really important that you move your body. Look, if you have two cars, two collector edition cars, exactly the same car, and they're both sitting in the garage, but you drive one a few miles every day, then the one you drive is the one that's going to be in the best shape. And that's not even a regenerative machine. Like a car, it doesn't get better when you use it. Your body does. Your body gets stronger when you use it. And what does that mean? It means you need to use it. And there's lots of reasons. One, if you don't use it, you will lose it. In other words, if you do not use your muscles, they will start to get smaller and weaker. And your bones will get weaker. So it's really important to create strength in your body by giving your body good cardiovascular exercise, very good flexibility exercise, and strength training to make sure that your muscles and bones get stronger. Incredibly important to be moving for all those reasons and one more. Look, your body has a heart to pump blood around your system because it's both urgent and important that you pump that blood around. Your body has a diaphragm to pump air in and out of the system because it's incredibly urgent and important that you pump air. But your body doesn't have a pump to send lymphatic fluid around your system, lymph. You need to move that around your system because it cleanses your cells. It keeps you clean. It's like the first line of defense of your immune system. But it doesn't have a pump because A, it's not urgent, it's just incredibly important, and B, our normal lifestyle before civilization involved so much movement on a daily basis that it moved the lymph for us. But now many of us aren't moving that much. We're trapped indoors. We're watching a lot of TV. We're watching a lot of internet. And so when we don't move lymph around, and we're asking for trouble. Movement is incredibly important. Please make sure you're getting some cardiovascular movement. Make sure you're getting some flexibility training, and make sure that you're doing some minimal strength training at the least to at least keep your muscle density during the lockdown, if not create new muscle. The next need of the body after movement, what we want to talk about is making sure that we're getting enough non-energy nutrients. So what do I mean by that? Well, we talked about energy nutrients like sugar, fat, and even protein. But now we're talking about non-energy nutrients. And this is where we have to make sure that we're getting all the vitamins and minerals and fats and fiber and all the non-energy nutrients we need. Well, where do we get them from? We get them from eating good quality whole foods. If you're not a vegetarian, that might mean getting some good quality meat and fish and eggs. And it also means getting a wide variety of really good vegetables wherever you can, and nuts and seeds and that sort of stuff. Making sure that you're getting enough of the good stuff is even more important than eliminating the bad stuff. So it's really, really important, essential even, that you're making sure that you're getting good food in. And I've been shocked because I've been hearing from all around the world, seeing videos from all around the world, and even seeing it in my own grocery store here, that people are going into the grocery stores and what are they buying? Canned stuff, processed stuff, frozen stuff, sugar stuff, when the produce section still has vegetables and fresh meat and eggs. And what? That's the stuff your body really needs. Your body doesn't even want the other stuff, let alone need it. Oh, I know your tongue wants it. I know the little boy or little girl inside you still wants some of that other stuff, but your body doesn't want it or need it. And what it really wants or needs is the good, healthy, whole food things. I'm not saying you can't have the other stuff. I'm saying the first thing is to get all the good stuff in. And then if you want to have some junk after that, your body is even better able to deal with it. Of course, ideal if you don't, but the most important thing is making sure that you're getting really good stuff into your body. So let's recap. We've talked about making sure that we're topping up on air and water, that we're getting enough sleep, that we're taking in the right kind of energy and burning the right kind of energy. And now we've talked about making sure that we're getting enough movement. Okay, so this is all good. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about making sure, and we've also talked about getting the right nutrients, but now we're going to talk about getting something that you really need to have, because some of the nutrients that you need to get, you can't really eat. You can't really eat them, you need to make them. And one of those is vitamin D. How do we do that? We get that by getting sunlight. We get that by getting sunlight. That's right. It's really important that you get sunlight. Now, I know some of you are watching and you live in a place where you don't really remember what the sun looks like because it's always behind the clouds. Well, it's okay. If you walk outside and it's light outside, that's still sunlight. It doesn't have to be direct sun on your skin. And I want you to know something, that over the last 20 or 30 years, we've been frightened about the sun. We've been told how evil the sun is. And I want to tell you why that happened. The first reason it happened is that a lot of people with European genetics moved to warmer places and spent too much time under a very hot sun. And so they burnt themselves, and that's dangerous. You see, the sun, like anything else, that is important to you, can also be dangerous to you. You need to get enough oxygen, but you also don't want to get too much. And so it's really important that we realize the sun is the same way. It's vital, it's essential that we get enough sunlight, but it's also bad to get too much that we burn. But I will tell you this, hiding from the sun, lathering yourself in sunblock and covering yourself up and avoiding the sun is just as dangerous as going out in the sun and burning. The difference is burning is dangerous right now and in the future, whereas avoiding the sun is really not dangerous right now. It's just dangerous in the future because you don't produce enough vitamin D, and that, guess what, affects your immune system. It makes you weaker. So it's really important that you get enough sun and not too much. So if you're living somewhere where there's good hot sun, get yourself 10 or 15 minutes of sun, no sunblock, nothing. Don't let yourself burn. And if you live somewhere else where the sun is a little weaker and there's not so much sunlight, then get outside in the natural light. It doesn't have to be direct sunlight. If it's light outside, you're getting sunlight. Make sure that you're getting some sunlight. And then the eighth need of humans is that of touch, affection, being around people that you love and that love you, being around pets that you love and you love you, being around children that you love and that you love you. It's really crucial and important that we get enough affection and touch in our lives. And I'll explain why. We are social animals. And when we get touch, when we get affection, when we hold hands, when we touch each other, rub each other's shoulders, when we cuddle, when we hug, when we kiss, we are stimulating a lot of great chemicals inside the body that are incredibly good for our immune system and for our health. They also reduce stress chemicals. When we are getting affection, when we are being touched, our stress chemicals go down. And during this pandemic, it's really important that you do everything you can to reduce your stress. Of course, you should stop watching the silly conspiracy videos and bad news. That is a great idea too. But another thing you can do to reduce the stress chemicals in your body is making sure that you're getting enough sense of touch. Years ago, I was reading about chimpanzees, and they are like us in many, many ways. And they're also very social animals. And in a chimpanzee troop, they touch each other a lot. You've probably seen videos where they're picking at each other and cleaning each other's fur and so on. And what's really fascinating about that is that chimpanzees are only allowed to touch, to preen the chimpanzees that are of equal or greater social ranking to them in the community. So they don't do that for the chimpanzees of a lower social rank. And what that means is that the chimpanzees with the lowest social ranking don't get any touch at all. And you know what's really interesting about that? They die. They die because in a very real sense, they're losing one of the great needs of the human body or their body. They're losing touch, and as a result, they're producing too many stress chemicals, and they're ultimately damaging their immune system, and then they die. It's really important that we get touch. So let's go through these again. The 8 needs. These are things that your body needs. These are not emotional needs. These are physical needs of the body. Like I said, you're getting the car ready to go on a trip. You want to make sure all of its needs are being met. Does it have gas? Does it have oil? Does it have antifreeze? Does it have windshield washer fluid? Does it have automatic steering fluid? Is it okay? Are there good tires on the car? Is there air in the tires? Like, let's make sure that the car's needs are being met, because that way it's going to get us to the destination. So in this case, what our car is the body. So what do we need to do? We have to make sure that it has air, not in the tires, but in us. Good quality air, deep breathing, relaxing breaths. We need to make sure that we're hydrated, that we've got a lot of good water in our system. We need to make sure that we get enough sleep, that we sleep properly and have a good sleep routine, that we go to bed at a reasonable hour and we sleep well in a nice, probably fairly cool room, really dark, make it possible to sleep in the best way you can. Sleep is so important to your immune system. Then we need to make sure that we're taking in the right quality energy. We want to make sure that we're eating good quality fats during this time, and that we're stimulating fat burning, because it's going to be the best way to support our moods, our minds, our clarity of thought, and our immune system. So we got to make sure that we're getting good energy. Then we got to make sure that we're moving, that we're getting flexibility training, that we're doing some cardio training for our heart and lungs, and we're doing some strength training to make sure that our muscles aren't getting weaker during the lockdown. It's really important that you move also to make sure that you're moving lymphatic fluid around your system to make sure that you're cleansing yourself from the inside. The first line of defense, in a sense, for your immune system. Important to be moving. Make sure that you're moving. And you got to make sure that you're topped up on the non-energy nutrients. So that means making sure that you're getting all the proteins that you need, and all the fiber, and all the vitamins and minerals. And how are you going to get those things? From good quality food. Yes, you can have the occasional emotional junk food here and there if you're getting really good quality food in. That's the most important thing. Then we want to make sure that we're getting enough sunlight, that we're getting outside and getting some sunlight. And lastly, we want to make sure that we've got a sense of social connection and community. And one little message for you, as somebody who is on lockdown alone, completely alone, separated from my family, is that while I can't go out and get physical touch at the moment, what I can do is I can connect with loved ones by reaching out with video calls, with Zoom, with Skype, with WhatsApp, and connecting with people and getting that love and that affection, even though I can't have it physically. So if you're alone, then please understand, do the best that you can. And if you're with family, then cuddling in front of the TV and watching a movie together is great. Holding hands when you're going out for a walk is great. And if you're in a romantic relationship, let me tell you right now, spooning in bed, taking baths and showers together, washing each other's hair, do these things to stimulate really great immune response and reduce the stress chemicals. Now, one more thing, and I really want you to hear me about this. I truly believe that the virus we're facing right now is not some unbelievably strong superbug. I'll give you that it is contagious. There's no question about that. But I don't think it's all that strong. I think it's only strong because we're weak. I think that if this virus had swept around the world in the 1960s, we wouldn't even have known about it. In fact, it probably did. Not necessarily this one, obviously, but one just like it. But the difference is that back then, there were so few people with hypertension and diabetes and obesity and autoimmune disease that the virus wouldn't have done anything much. It wouldn't have affected us so much. Yes, some people would have been affected by it, but very few. The reason that it is so devastating to us now is that so many of us are in weakened conditions because of a terrible food manufacturing and production industry, and an industry that's influencing our governments to educate us incorrectly and to affect the regulation in such a way that we're always confused about food. So I want to just say this to you. What humans are supposed to be eating is absolutely not a mystery. The archaeological record of this is absolutely clear. Humans are omnivorous beings that are supposed to eat a wide variety of seasonally available fruits, nuts, seeds, vegetables, meats, fishes, eggs, and so forth. Everything else that you eat is unnecessary. If it's processed, it's in a package, if it's got a long list of ingredients that you can't pronounce, then it's not necessary for you. And if it's not necessary for you, then you have to ask yourself why you're eating it. Are you eating it for your body? Or are you eating it for the little boy or girl inside you? Are you eating it for your body, or are you eating it for your tongue? Are you eating it for the stomach or the tongue? Think about that. Are you really going to let this tiny little organ control what you put into your body, and then make your body have to work so hard to fight against the sugars and preservatives and GMOs and all the other stuff. So I just want you to think during this time, during this pandemic, about your decisions. Number one is making sure that you get these 8 needs met in the best possible way. Number 2 is where you try to reduce the behaviors that would damage those things. So let's talk about that. The first thing is, what you put in is what you get out. And here I'm talking about your mind. If you are watching the news and you are looking at social media and it's scaring you, then you are creating stress chemicals in your body. And those stress chemicals in your body are going to reduce your immune response. And I'll explain to you why that is. You see, I want you to imagine that you and I are out for a walk somewhere in Africa, and we walk around a corner. But you know what's interesting is we both had a little bit of a cold, and we both had a little bit of digestive problems. We weren't very healthy. We walked around the corner and we saw the lion. In that moment, you know what'll go away? Our cold and digestive problems. Boom, gone. Why? Because the immune system shuts down and puts priority on the muscles, puts priority on strength and speed. Because in that moment, the bigger danger is the lion, not a pathogen or a virus. And so our immune system shuts down during those times of intense stress because it thinks we have to fight or run or hide. And so what we want to do is make sure that we're not facing those kinds of stresses. So if you have friends on social media that are scaring you, unfriend them, snooze them, get them out of your feed. Don't let them scare you. If you're watching the news and it's scaring you, stop it. Look, you don't need to watch the news anymore. The fact is that if something really important happens in the world, one of your friends is going to call you and tell you. You don't need to worry about it. Don't look at the news. The news isn't even the truth anyway. So one of the things you can do absolutely to make sure your immune system is strong is staying calm, being optimistic, enjoying yourself. Look, I know that times are tough right now, but isn't it kind of also nice to have a little bit of peace every now and again, a little bit of quiet, get to know yourself a little better? Use this time to your advantage. So make sure that you're putting good stuff in your mind and not the bad stuff, because if you put the bad stuff in, you're going to get the bad stuff out. Same goes with your body. This is not the time for soft drinks and sugar and preservatives and additives. Yeah, you can have that stuff. I don't think it's a great idea, but now is not the best time for that. Right now, there's a virus that happens to like those foods. There's a virus running around the world that likes it when you eat sugar. It likes it when you eat preservatives and garbage. It likes it when you mess up your metabolism. It makes you an easy target. So for the next couple of weeks or months, really focus on getting enough of the good stuff in and not putting so much of the bad stuff in. And then listen, lastly, avoid all the conspiracy theories. Avoid all that stuff because it's not important. Look, was the virus invented in a lab in Wuhan? Did it come from a bat? Did it come from 5G? Right now, it doesn't really matter where it came from. What we know about it is it's dangerous if you're unhealthy. Doesn't matter where it came from. Dangerous if you're unhealthy. If it came from 5G, guess what? Dangerous if you're unhealthy. If it came from a bat, guess what? Dangerous if you're unhealthy. So ignore the conspiracy theories. And let me just help you with one thing about that. 5G, in case you're worried about that, is only in 30 countries. The virus is in 190. The rumors that are being spread around the world are designed for clicks. They're designed to make money. They're designed to frighten you because when you're frightened, you want to watch the news more often. The main guy behind the 5G rumor, by the way, also believes that there are shape-shifting reptiles running the world, including Bill Gates. So just be careful about the garbage that people are sending to you. And if your friends are sending you that garbage, in Facebook, you can snooze them. You can just snooze them. You don't have to unfriend them. You can just snooze them. All I really want to put to you is, with your mind and body, if you put good stuff in, if you put good stuff in your mind, and you put good stuff in your body, then you're going to put good stuff out. You're going to have positive thoughts. Your immune system's going to be strong. And the same thing with your body. You put the good stuff in, you put the good food in, the good air in, the good water in, you move your body, and you do all those things. Then your immune system's going to be strong. You're going to sleep better. You're going to be happier. You're going to be more productive, and you're going to be ready for life post-pandemic. We don't know what that is going to be like, but what we do know is we need to be stronger and smarter and faster. And we can use this time to get that way by putting all the good stuff in.